Hello there, and this is another naval action guide focused on understanding the economy and how things are priced on the markets. On the previous one, I talked about gunpowder cost being much lower if you craft it, and I specifically said that it costs around 1 to 1.4 reals per gunpowder to make, which is much less than the usual 4 or 5 it costs to buy from a shop at the port from another player possibly. And the important question here is how do you know that this is the cost? How do you calculate the crafting cost of all the different supplies, of all the different things one can craft in this game? So this will be the main subject of the video. How does one go and calculate exactly how much it cost him to make something? First of all, I want to start by dividing all the items related to crafting in three main categories. The first one is the basic resources, the resources that are dropped directly by ports and are bought by the players to begin the crafting process. The raw materials, oak logs, iron, all that stuff. These all fall to the basic resources category. The second category is the intermediate products, the products that are not used directly but are a stepping stone to craft something else. These include the charcoal, oak planks, and all those different resources we made to finally be able to make the gunpowder and the bowls. And finally, we have the final products, the things we are actually aiming to make, the supplies we are going to use to fight, the ships we are going to use to fight, and the cannons we are going to use to arm the ships. These are the final products. These are our aims. We want to make ships. We want to make cannons for these ships. We want to make supplies for these ships. So let's begin with the first category, the basic resources. As we already discussed on the previous one, but I'm going to repeat for clarity, these resources drop directly from the ports, and players can buy them from the ports if they are available, or set up contracts to get them when they drop from the port, which happens very often, so there is no need to wait a whole day for the supplies to replenish. So, the basic resources include oak log, iron ore, sulfur, saltpeter. These four are the ones we use to make gunpowder, I remind you. Then we have hemp and lignum vitae log, which we also use to level up our crafting a bit. Then we have fir log. Then we have molasses, tobacco, fish meat, stone block, and medicinal bark. There is also provisions. This is also a resource that drops from ports directly, but we are not going to talk about provisions as these three over here, molasses, tobacco, and fish meat, their only use is to make provisions, and it's also much cheaper to craft them using these three. So we are not going to talk about provisions here since they are considered now a intermediate product. I will not consider them a basic resource, even though they are dropped directly from ports. What we haven't talked about these resources is that their prices actually differ from day to day. They fluctuate. For example, today oak log costs 3 reals each to buy from Williams Bay. Every day during maintenance downtime, the prices actually change. As you can see here, oak log now costs 2 reals per. And we can also use that opportunity to buy the oak log for cheaper. And right now I'm having a bit of trouble with warehouse space, but luckily all the grinding I'm doing in the background has earned me enough doubloons to actually expand the warehouse and have a bit more space to work with. After maintenance, you will see different prices than the ones you saw before maintenance. So maintenance is the point from which the prices have changed in every port in the Caribbean. So there are moments when resources are actually much cheaper to get during the week, let's say. And the prices are different for each of these resources. They have a top, a maximum price, and they have a minimum price, and they fluctuate between those two. So they have also an average price, a price which you can find by basically observing the prices of these resources daily and finding exactly what is the maximum and what is the minimum. But because I have already done this work, or at least I've asked around, these here are the prices that I consider the averages of the maximum and minimums I'm talking about for every resource. These are the ones I use in my own calculations of what this costs, what that costs. We move on to number two, the intermediate products, the ones that I already said are crafted by the basic resources, but are still not the final product that I'm aiming for. These include charcoal, oak planks, iron fittings, barrels. These should be familiar from the previous video where we used them to make gunpowder and bowls. Then we have rum, sailcloth, ropes and blocks, and of course provisions, which I already explained are crafted by molasses, fish meat, and tobacco. Each of them again has a price, but since they are crafted from basic resources, their price is related to the basic resource costs. So basically, all the items available for crafting in the workshop and the forge have a price related to their recipe, to what exactly they need to be crafted. So let's take, for example, charcoal here. Charcoal is the first craftable resource, and it only needs 40 oak logs to craft. 40 oak logs to craft 100 of the thing. So we need to multiply 40 oak logs with the 3 reals, which was the average price of the oak log, and then divide by 100, which is the quantity produced. And that gives us 1.2, which is exactly the price we were looking for, the price of charcoal. Similarly, the oak planks is exactly the same, 40 oak logs to make 100, so their price is also 1.2 reals per plank. For another example, if we were to craft iron fittings, which take charcoal and iron ore to make, we would need the price of charcoal, which we just calculated to figure out how much the iron fittings would cost. So following the same idea, the 20 irons times the 6 reals per iron ore, and the 20 charcoals times the 1.2 we just calculated, all that divided by the 100 iron fittings you craft this way gets you the price of iron fittings. Working the same way for every single intermediate product, we can actually calculate all their prices depending on the original average basic resource prices we set at the beginning. Moving to the final products, the idea is exactly the same. So here, using the recipe for gunpowder, we can actually calculate in the same manner the cost of gunpowder and finally reach the price that I'm talking about, the 1.4. So here we are in the port, we open the building and crafting menu, we go to the workshop and we scroll down to the gunpowder price. We can see here that saltpeter, sulfur, charcoal and barrels are needed. 3 saltpeter times their price, 3 sulfur times their price, 2 charcoal times their price, and 1 barrel times its price gets us to exactly 0.35. However, there is an additional 1 real per gunpowder cost. You remember we are dividing by 100 here, 105 divided by 100 gives us 1.05, which is the base crafting cost of the gunpowder recipe. That means the 1 real out of the 1.4 is actually completely made up by the developers. Every single recipe has a recipe cost, that number, but in all other recipes, this is completely irrelevant. It's so low, it doesn't even change the price. It is 0.05 or something like that reals um, per recipe. So I don't know what's so special about gunpowder, but it's made up. Its cost is actually made up. Of course, cannons and ships also have crafting recipes and thus will have a final cost. All these cannon recipes contain again some of the basic resources and some of the crafted resources, the intermediate ones, and you can actually make cannons. These of course are locked behind crafting level thresholds. For ships, though, the situation is slightly different. Ships have the highest amount of materials needed to craft them, and these materials actually change with what wood you would like your ship to be made out of. There is a list of different wood types you can use, which all have different effects on the ship. Some make it more fast, some make it more tanky, some make it more agile, and so on and so forth. Thick, whatever you want. As you may have realized, doing these calculations for such a huge recipe will take a long time to complete. So we need to find some other way to calculate costs for specifically ships, because ships also have different logs you can use. So each time you will have to repeat the whole process with different logs, with different log prices. And don't even get me started on changing basic resource costs. Okay, you use the average, but one day or for a week or so, there could be an increased demand for, let's say, stone. Stone is only used in ships, but you should, if it triples or quadruples or even more, you should put that in. You use 588 stone. Or if you want to make gunpowder and the oak suddenly is worth 10 reals per, then you should also change the prices. So what we need to have as a player is some kind of spreadsheet, some kind of Excel file which would update all the costs depending on the input costs we could change from a matrix, for example, on an Excel. This way we could, with the press of a button, calculate all the costs for anything we want instantly without having to repeat the whole calculations with paper and pens and calculators on the phone and stuff. We need some kind of Excel. Are you getting bored yet? Does this seem like another day in the office for you, calculating costs in a spreadsheet, in an office, in an Excel office file? Um, it kind of is. It kind of feels a bit hard, but you have to do it only once. And it's also good practice if you want to remember how to use Excel. But some of you may already have one job and may feel disheartened to invest so much time into setting up an Excel like this. But I don't have that problem. I don't have a job, so I have all the time in the world to set up an Excel like this. And I have already done so. I have a spreadsheet ready and I will share it with you down in the description in the Drive folder. You can download it and use it freely, and you can also change it to better fit your own playstyle or improve it. Of course, I will not be hunting you down because you use the spreadsheet. It's just an Excel file. This spreadsheet includes all the functions that I'm talking about, all the calculations of supply costs and all the calculation of ship costs, even with different wood types, will be covered by this spreadsheet. And it also has a function in which it calculates the exact cannons a ship needs and how much they cost to craft. So one final thing about all these crafting recipes is that they are gradually unlocked the more you level up your crafting level. Your crafting level is a specific XP bar that goes up only when you craft certain things, depending on your current XP, your current crafting level. So recipes that you unlocked ages ago will not give you any XP. But essentially, there is a list also in my spreadsheet which shows you exactly what you unlock with each level. As you level up, you unlock bigger ships, better cannons, and of course, you have to craft these in order to level up to the next stage. So I level up, I unlock frigates. I have to make frigates, make cannons for these frigates, then level up again, then so on and so forth. So this here is my crafting cost calculator. As you can see on the left side, there is the basic resources. This is the input prices. I can change this however I want if they change in the shop, and it will automatically update anything else. Here you see the intermediate products with the prices I already displayed at some point. And these here are the supplies. Of course, prices also change with basic resources. So let's say hull repairs cost 48.5, gunpowder cost 1.4. If for some reason sulfur just skyrockets and goes 15, then suddenly you will see its gunpowder price jump to 1.7 from 1.5. This may seem low, but you need thousands of gunpowder, so this is a big change in price. Okay, then we have all the log types you can use to craft ships that are dropped by ports. I specifically say that are dropped by ports. These ones are the basic ones. Teak is a bit more rare, but you can find that quite easily too. White oak is a bit of the same as teak, and then you have all these four here, which are especially hard to get as a new player because they are pricey and people fight a lot to get these, with contracts going from 15 to 200 in a couple of hours per unit. So essentially, these are all the crafting relevant items that are not incredibly rare woods that only drop from captain chests, from wood chests, sorry. And then I have this tool over here, which is a SIP cost calculator. You can select your SIP from here, whatever you want. Let's say I want to make an implacable, and I want to make it out of oak and another oak. You see the price to craft it is around 31,000, which is not much. It's not too much. This is ridiculously low compared to what we were used to in the past, the ship prices of the past. And this is the prices I set for clanmates and for other players. There are modifiers, I have put them here for selling prices. I usually charge 20% more to clanmates just because of the effort I took to make it. And for other players that are not in the clan, I usually set this to 200%, so twice the price. Of course, this can change relevant to what demand there is to materials and stuff. But of course, this is up to you. You can change this how to whatever you want. So once I have decided on what woods I should use to make the ship, and I have locked these in, I move down to the next tool over here, which is the crafting cost calculator of the cannons of this specific ship. So I need again to select the ship implacable, and then here it will display to me all the relevant cannons the ship needs to operate. Some ships can take either long guns or carronades in the top decks, and this is one of them. You can either put 12-pounder long guns on the top deck or 32-pounder carronades. On the upper deck, you can also do 12-pounder long guns or 42 carronades. You can choose which one you want. We usually go full longs, so I will ignore the right one for now because it is not very relevant at this point, and I will focus on the left one. So 12-pounder cannonades, 12-pounder longs, sorry, 12-pounder longs, 24 in the middle deck, 36 in the lower deck, 24 pounders, 36 pounders, and 9-pounder chasers and stern. I move on to this cannon row here, and then I select the cannons that match this left side. So 12 pounders on the top, 12 pounders on the side, on the upper, 24 pounders on the middle deck, and then I move down to the lower deck and I set this to 36 pounders long guns. The numbers are set here automatically, how many of them I need. So I need 6 of 12 pounders and 24, 30 in total, and then I need 30 24 pounders and then 30 36 pounders, and then I need 8 more 9 pounders for the bow and stern of the ship. The costs are displayed here, and the total cost to craft them is displayed down here. Also, I set the clan price and sell price to these modifiers. And of course, in order to further simplify the process, I have also put here the total price, the addition of the crafting price and the crafting price of the cannons. And again, I set up a clan price and a sell price for easy access. So what did I do? I chose the ship. Once again, it will display to me what cannons it take and how many. I decide whether to put 12-pounder long guns or let's say 32-pounder carronades, but we usually go for the long guns because we usually fight at a distance, and going close to fight with carronades is not very usual. So I set the cannons to what they need to be. I can of course undergun it and put 9-pounders everywhere, but I lose a bit of damage in the place of firing rate. This is not a meta right now. It could become in the future, so I left this open. And essentially, after I put everything in and they match with the cannons on the left side here, then it will display me the total cost to craft them and the total ship cost as you can see, to make an implag, which is one of the last ships you unlock in the game, I only need 52,000 reals, which is extremely low compared to what we were used to in the past. Additional tools here contain the ship crafting list, which is a list of all the ships, all the different materials they need to be crafted, their canon information, which were displayed here, are also here, and there is also the crafting emotes from the game. I also put the DLC ships down here with their canon information, in case you need to craft some for a friend. Moving on, we have the canon crafting list. This is essentially the same thing, but for cannons. What they need for iron, for charcoal, for planks, and for blocks, and how many reals I need to craft one of each cannon. And finally, the last sheet here, the last page, is the crafting level unlocks. So here we have the first materials we unlock, the first supplies we unlock, and after that, with each level we unlock a new ship or a new gun type, a new cannon. And slowly but surely, crafting all this with the right priorities. So we need to craft the higher recipes in order to rank up. If I reach 52 rank and I can craft the Diana and I keep crafting charcoal, I will not level up at all. So I craft the relevant ships of each crafting level I reach, and I continue leveling up. As you can see, I have put color codes so you can easily see which ones are ships, which ones are cannons, and which are supplies and materials. And I have also put the shipyard level up point. So La Renommée is the last ship you can make with shipyard level 1. Next, from here, you need to upgrade to level 2. And then the Trincomalee is the last ship you can make with level 2. And after that, the USS United States needs a shipyard level 3. Shipyard level 3 is the maximum shipyard level, so with shipyard level 3 you can get all the way up to the Ocean, which is the biggest craftable ship in the game for now. There is also the Santissima Trinidad in game, which is also available but not for crafting. You can only capture it from other players or from AI. So there you have it. This is all you need to know about crafting costs and how they are calculated. Hopefully with this information you can avoid scams on shops and markets. Now that you understand how everything works, you can make your own spreadsheet which better fits your style, or you can also again use mine for the very low price of one click down in the description, where I have put the drive folder. And of course you are also free to change my spreadsheet, to improve it and to tweak it however you like. This is not something I am copywriting. This is an Excel file for a 500 player game. There is no way someone can make millions out of this. So please, if you improve it, share your improvements with the rest of us, because these are useful tools that anyone should have. So if you're still here and you also watched the previous one for crafting gunpowder early on, then I want to say that I very much enjoyed talking with all of you in the comments, reading your views on the subject and on the game. And I'm very happy that some people found it actually useful and are actually applying it. So thank you all for doing that, and thank you for testing my method as well. Hopefully this saved you a lot of future time investment in the game. Until the next one, if there is a next one, I wish you all smooth sailing and have fun in the game.